do introductions. Next, moving on to consent items. Approval of the April 25 meeting.
Isn't that
minutes.
weird?
I know that is so
April?
weird.
What?
Yeah.
Where are we?
Yeah.
What day is it? That's from a while ago, you got those. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Are we on vouchers?
No.
We're on
Almost.
minutes. Any discussion about them or any other comments about the minutes?
That was way from
Move
April.
approval.
Okay.
Well, we've moved that, sorry, okay.
We
I'm
moved that.
out of order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now the vouchers.
Now the
Just, there you go.
On the bottom, question, your balances from the Beerman Transportation and Meal Program at the end of last year are the same as your balances now. Is that because we haven't spent any of that money, or how does that work in the, am I reading that wrong?
Oh, this one?
End of first quarter, there were no bus trips that went out. So the bus, the personnel, the bus drivers get paid out of that account, and the bus wasn't on the road yet. So that's a great question. Like it's the same, and why is it the same? Because the bus started going out in April, May, yeah, so that's why. So remember, because we missed April's meeting, this is only till the end of March. So the next one will be coming out once we close out this month. At the end of June, I should get another report. So in our next meeting, we'll have the next report. And that will be depleted a bit. Any other questions? So we're sitting well. If you look at all of our account balances, we're doing very well.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, I have a motion to approve the vouchers.
Move approval.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, public comment.
Yes.
Callie is going to
Yeah.
sneak in here.
I don't have much to say. The campground is coming along nicely. They're working on the bathrooms right now. They're putting epoxy on the floors, and then they're gonna start building the walls, and hopefully by the end.
Can I ask what campground?
The campground that's gonna be at the fairgrounds here,
Thank you.
sorry. But they are working on the bathroom and the walls and getting those done. And those all look nice. They're gonna put in, security things on the doors, so only people that are renting the campground can use those bathrooms, or the showers. So,
How many sites?
there's 20 sites. There's 20 sites, and they have 30 and 50 in your standard outlet plugins, and they all have access to water.
And if I wanted to use it, who would I contact?
You'll be contacting me or the city website. We're figuring out who we're going through right now for online reservations. And then once we get that hammered down, we'll get that on the website and we'll announce what we're gonna be doing with that.
Cost yet?
Not
Not
yet.
Okay.
No cost yet.
Is the funding for that, I think the county gave some of its ARPA money to the
Mhm.
city of Merrill.
Yes,
Did you actually receive the money from the county?
I
Is it
believe
in
so.
hand?
I believe it is.
So everything's paid for and it's
Mhm.
not like you fronted it and, okay,
No, from what I understand, it was in hand.
cool, great, thank you.
So,
And those 20 sites are all on the south end?
yep, they're all on the south end. One is down by the armory, and then 20 is just by those bathrooms. They're all in
And
there.
when does it start?
Hopefully August. That's what I'm hoping for, but we're not sure at this point. It'll depend on how the weather goes.
Oh, will the new bathrooms be ready for the fair? I mean, that can be used for the fair.
They should be, yes.
Will camping take place at the same time as the fair?
No, the people who are here for the fair, they camp in the grounds as it is. So, and that's where like the games and everything are for the kids, so it wouldn't work that way.
Oh, that's a good question.
And is the campground year-round or just seasonal? Do you know?
Great question. I will find the answer for you.
There's specific charge that,
We don't know yet. We're kind of floating around with the idea of how much we're gonna be charging. So I've seen, I know like Lincoln County charges $20 to $25 depending on where they're at.
Right.
For the Tomahawk ones that are at Sarah Park, they charge $50 a night.
Ooh,
That is on the river, so I don't see us doing that.
right,
Is that electric too? Did you say?
They
it
have
was hooked?
electric, yeah.
yeah.
They don't have a dump site at Sarah Park, they have one in town.
Mhm.
So that'll be similar setup as to what we have here. It's just figuring out how much we can charge.
Advertising, how are you gonna do that?
That'll be Facebook, other, probably photo news, radio, once we get that up and going. So,
So do they get water there too?
Yep.
Water and electric?
water and electric. And then Food Truckapalooza went really well. We figured there was over 3,000 people there. We had 30 food trucks, 45 to 50 vendors. Several of them had 2 to 3 spaces, so that added up to 71 spots. So that went really well. We're planning for next year already. Everything here at the Expo Center has been going really well. I think we are booked all except for maybe 2 weekends from September to November. So that's been really good to see. So,
And I have to add that, I should knock on wood, the cleanup has been
mhm,
what we expect,
yes,
so that's good.
Cleanup is done by the users or by?
Yes, they have standards that they're supposed to follow, and then, you know, Misty comes in the morning to clean up, and she hasn't had any, well, I haven't heard of any damage either, which is really nice.
right.
So that is refreshing.
There's a deposit I went to.
Yep.
They put on it.
Yes, and we did raise, I should tell you this too, we did raise the prices of the Expo Center, $50 per day. So if it was $450, it's now $500. For the second consecutive day, it's $400, and for the third, it's $300. We are still well below what WASA charges, and we're comparable to the Merrill Town Hall, which we have a bigger facility. So it was about time. We haven't raised those prices since 2017.
Right.
And for what we have here, we need to make that revenue. And then it's to rent the kitchen. We were only charging a $250 additional deposit. We're charging $50 for your entire rental to use the kitchen. Otherwise, you'd pay the $500 deposit, use the kitchen, and that was free. While you're still using our fridge, our stove, and all of our stuff, you should pay for that.
So that's just $50 for if it's the
For the
whole
weekend.
weekend, one
Yep,
day,
it's-
whatever it is.
Yes,
flat
otherwise it
50.
gets too,
Yeah, that was a lot.
yeah.
How'd the rodeo go? Is everything fine?
I believe everything went really well. I haven't talked to, their coordinators yet, but I think that.
But that goes through you too, isn't that right?
They've run the show for so long that they don't really need me.
Yeah.
Nicely
So,
put.
yes.
But do you get any revenue for them coming in?
They rent the property.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is all done and taken care of. The Riders Club is here on Fridays, for the grounds. So that is a great thing that we have with them too. So they rent the grandstand, or part of the grandstand arena, I should say. And people come in
Every Friday, do they do?
almost every Friday. It's pretty often, and then it'll stop at the fair. And then we'll be taking off the sand that the horses need, and we'll be putting like the ATV track stuff is gonna be in there, so.
Have we ever explored, I know when the folks coming from or Tomahawk activities or Rhinelander activities with trailers,
Yep,
that they could use our facilities here for camping?
that will be in availability when we have the campsites, yes.
Okay, because I know the motorcycle people that we know have often brought
Is it in
campers
the-
up, and they
Mhm.
always are looking,
Yep,
and they never seem to be able to get into places up north, so they wanted
Right.
to stay here in Merrill, but
yeah,
there's
so,
not too much to go here.
yeah, so that'll be something that we promote for Fall Ride. Specifically that we have these campsites available, short distance to Tomahawk to like be there for all of their events. I don't know that we are going to hold anything on the grounds per se, at least not this year for the Fall Ride.
Oh,
I'd like to see what the campsites do in the next couple years before we invest in doing some sort of event here,
yeah, that's a good idea.
so,
And then,
Good idea.
I have a question on the fencing.
Yep.
update on that?
Oh,
When it-
They're working on it. I haven't talked to Dustin Bonack about the fencing that's going around. I know it was donated by the rodeo, and the fair board also donated, I wanna say, was it $20,000 to put gates and to help with those things.
So will this entire area be gated off eventually? Is that the goal?
I think
or-
the gate here, I think, will stay open for everybody here, but I think it's just,
So not a lot of traffic to go through?
right.
with
We're
emergency
working
like
on
that.
slowing the traffic down because even, I noticed from the food truckapalooza when I was down here for 3 days, the traffic between here and Memorial Drive is insane,
Mark,
and they don't slow down.
is your question about fencing related to those concrete
Right,
things? Are
right.
we gonna put those, are we gonna put those
Yes.
all the way around the whole?
From what I understand, yes,
The whole
Yep.
area? Really?
yes.
Why is that necessary? I thought it was a free fair.
Well,
It's a free,
security people will tell you that that prevents anybody from running their car into a
Uh-huh.
crowd of people.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but that's, welcome to 21st century
Right.
America,
Ro-
and Europe as well, right?
Rodeo and horse
Yeah.
show people want that too.
Yeah, but if your park's in there already, how is that
For
valid?
your horses.
Oh, well, yeah, if you're in the parking lot, well, you have less room to maneuver, but this keeps you from just like running over the lawn and
It was
into
a donation that we received, and it's
Yeah.
the best place for it, I guess. I honestly can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm told there was a fence around here 100 years ago to start with.
There
Yeah.
was.
there was, I think I remember that.
I remember the pines on the corner.
And what people on the fair board have told me is that part of the reason they kind of fence things off is in case a livestock that is being shown makes a break for it, you've got a chance at corralling
Right.
them. So, and you think, oh, well, you know, if it's a rabbit, no big deal, but if it's a 450-pound pig,
Yeah.
it
takes
picks
some
up
time.
momentum.
apparently it won't be on the news, you know, and the funny videos.
Yeah, like, was it the Milwaukee police picking up a sheep the other day? The kangaroo and
Sometimes
the
there's
zebra.
a camel.
Right.
Yeah.
The zebra that got airlifted the other night.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah, here we are.
But otherwise, I
How do you
think that's,
expect kids to sneak into the fair?
that's not my problem.
Just sneaking,
Taking
right
it all
behind
fun.
her, that's how.
We'll send them to you for tips.
Yeah.
I never paid to go into a fair. When I was a kid, we just sneaked into everything. That's why I always don't know why you need a fence when my grandchildren they can't jump that high.
Good.
Yet.
I want my kids to jump. My kids scale the fence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One more question. 4th of July will be at the mark.
This will be at the mark, yes.
And then the fair is pretty well set up now, or,
As far as I know, the fair is set and ready to go.
okay,
Um,
that's my last
Yep.
question. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions for me?
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a whole lot of work. So, yes, we're thankful to have somebody in place to manage this.
Not a problem.
It's a lot.
So if anybody ever has anything, let Tammy know and she can message me.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
We'll
that's
figure it out.
perfect.
So,
Thank you.
but I have
You
to
gotta run.
Yes, I have to pick up kids from summer playground.
Okay.
Before they jump the fence.
Before they swim in the water.
Make a break for it.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thank
you.
You too.
Thank you.
Any other public comment that anyone has or has heard?
Is there a status on the Boys and Girls Club at the Armory?
30-year lease, I heard. Instead of 25, 30, I heard.
Better. Cool.
Thank you.
And they're pretty happy about the situation, I think.
Okay, moving on to operations, volunteer appreciation.
Okay, just a recap, it's in the newsletter, whoever was attending, we have a beautiful photo of all of our volunteers. On a side note, I am a little disappointed in the quality of this print, so I'm gonna be talking to LPI, even on the front page, like the quality of this print all around, but especially in those pictures, is not great.
I noticed just in the,
Yeah,
just 'cause
even
I
in-
happen to be doing that class, is
Yes.
that those are supposed to be all black and they're like brown and orange
Yeah,
and.
the images
Weird.
are, yeah, it's very, very bizarre, so I will be talking to them about that. But we had for a few things that we're gonna, we always like, how could we improve this, right? But one of them was to set the date earlier, because I think we were a little later in setting the date, and I think if we can give people a little bit more save the date notice, I think that would be a good thing. But it was a wonderful, fun turnout. I think that everyone really enjoyed just visiting with each other and mingling, and then the lunch, of course, I think we did like 11:30 to 12:30ish, I think, something around there.
So, yeah.
And we were able to still have our afternoon activities as well.
The lunch was great.
Okay.
Because it's light enough that you don't wanna go home and take a nap.
Okay.
Wasn't turkey, huh?
That's good feedback.
I thought it was good.
Anybody
That was
else?
good. No, I was
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I think just the fact that these people are recognized.
Yeah, I think that's
Says
as
it's
well.
really
Yeah.
important.
Although I would like to comment that I feel like being on the board is not quite the same as the people who do a lot of heavy lifting. And I was stunned when I said, well, what can I do to help? And everyone said to me, nothing, you already do. And yes, we do, but not quite and I felt like maybe the board should help you.
The board,
more.
you can, and
Just
I get
saying.
what you're saying, because, you know, you make big money being on this board, so it's not really volunteer.
I'm gonna retire.
We all know that doesn't happen, but I feel like we wanna thank you as well, and you
I
should
know.
be able to, you know, be recognized for that. Not just, you know, not just your time, but all of the valuable advice that you give us and guide us through all of this. It's
I
invaluable.
know, and I
And it's
appreciate
kind of
it.
sort of volunteer.
I appreciate your point of view. I just felt like I felt like I should be
You wanted to help.
helping too.
Okay, so I'm gonna make that note for next time.
Yep, there you
Put you
go.
to work,
Dishes.
Oh, yeah, you sure? Well, we do have that really great dishwasher,
Because
so that would be.
it feels more like it's a privilege
I
to
think
be
you
on the
yeah,
board
put
than.
just Elizabeth's name on that list.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Elizabeth loves to run the dishwasher.
Elizabeth would like to help.
And I know for me, it's like, I try to get here early for some things and say, you need anything?
Right.
We were all standing there
I
asking the
know.
same thing, it was
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It wasn't, not just this.
Yeah,
I
right.
remember,
Right.
idle hands
Just
in the
in-
devil's workshop, you can't leave me alone for a moment or I'll get into trouble.
You'll find your own things to do.
Right.
Okay, so yes, so I just wrote down as a recap everything that we had to eat and some snacks. For those of you who made it, would there be anything else that you would recommend?
One thing that I liked
Yes.
that you did the first year,
Yes.
that and I think maybe it was just time-wise, is you had people, you kind of went through the categories and had people stand up.
Oh,
And actually I like that the first year, because then you sort of put a face to a name of who does what kind
Right.
of thing.
Who delivered the
Who delivered
Thanksgiving
right
meal?
to the
Right.
groups.
Who have the
Right,
quilters.
in
front of the
And
group.
it's
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
good way to make sure that everybody who is doing something knows the other things that are being done as
Right,
well.
there you go.
And
Yes.
so, you know, that communitizes us.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
I made that word.
You did,
Yes.
it sounded great, right?
Good word.
Laura, I thought that too, that's why I thought, if you look on the first page, right above the picture of the board, it says Grief Book Club.
Oh, yeah. I like
I
that.
thought that applied mostly to the judge, but.
That was very sharp. I tried. Look past that picture
Yeah,
quickly.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's good feedback, and there's always, I thought about the first time too that we did it, we had printed out pictures that we had on the
That was
tables
fun too, I
of all
liked
the,
it.
and so I think I'll do that again.
Yeah, I think
Again,
it just was a time crunch.
I think it was a time
Yeah.
crunch, and that's what kind of, you know, you look back and think, wait a minute, you know, we talked about possibly getting it catered, which we could do, supporting like a local business for catering. So we kind of, the girls and I threw that out as an option. But yeah, I think overall it was really nice. What did you all think about the tote bag and the pen? Was that a nice?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was nice.
yes, it
Okay.
was.
Okay.
I use them.
Yeah.
Usable things, right?
Yes, yes. So, okay, good. And if there's anything else that you think of course, we'll do that, next year again.
Put it on the calendar now, so you
Yeah.
can get it.
Yeah.
That's so
Caught
true.
short.
Just like we have to do with the Festival of Quilts, like 2 years in advance, otherwise we don't, yeah. Yep, we gotta save the space and the date and everything, so,
And actually even, I think this would take a lot longer too, but I suppose, but pictures of those groups maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's, and have them in peak so people could see.
yes, yes.
It's not as critical, but.
And I thought of that when we were taking the big group picture, about breaking down into different groups and
Yeah.
taking the group pictures and then a whole picture, but, yeah,
it might-
so.
It might take a long time to do.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But you typically do it when you know, like the Christmas spirit thing, you take
Mhm.
pictures of people then, so you may
Yeah.
already have pictures.
Mhm. That's
Oh,
true
there
too,
you go.
yeah.
And sometimes you get,
Not
it's
the
not always the
group,
same
right,
group,
right,
it's
right.
different people, and that's
Different
okay.
people, and that's okay too, so yeah, we do take those pictures, I could grab those also. But, it was fun, I'm glad that even though it was a little bit last minute, that we were able to pull it together, so, yeah. Anything else on that?
Okay, first quarter report.
Okay, so that's the, yep, that's the report with the numbers, and so you can look at our balances. I know Jean had already asked about the, you know, the bus. And as long as you asked about the bus and the fund for that, we have Dawn from Park and Rec, who is, she's called us to ask if she could borrow our bus to use for, I wanna get this right, it is, it's not for, I thought it was for the Park and Rec, but it's actually for children with disabilities and things who need to get out into the community. And so they did their first trip yesterday, they came and got the bus and did that, and when she came back, her smile was huge, and she said it was just fantastic, and she wants to continue doing that. So the nice thing is we can, I don't even wanna say partner, we can have her use that, have her use our bus to get those kids to places that they otherwise maybe couldn't
Awesome.
visit.
Oh, that's
Who
great.
was the driver for that?
Oh, I forget her name, she used to be a city streets employee, but now she's working alongside with Dawn.
I just
Yeah, yeah, and she
Cool.
drove the bus actually.
Nice.
Mhm.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, so I'll get her name, I know Stefan knows who she is, so. But I was really, really pleased with that, that she reached out and asked, and that the dates, all but one of the dates that she requested, the bus was available. So I think for next year, we'll just secure her dates,
Yeah.
and then we'll work our trips around it, cause there was one trip that we had already secured, so, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
so-
Very nice.
Yeah, Beyond Boundaries, Beyond Boundaries Camp, that's what that, Dawn is ahead of,
And our insurance will cover,
because they're city employees.
okay.
Nice.
Great question.
Good
Is the
job.
bus owned by the city, right?
Yes,
So,
yes. Mhm. Other people have wanted to use our bus. I had a gentleman come in from Little Lakes Memories. They want to take veterans on a fishing trip. And I'm like, I would love to be able to do that. However, you know, it's a city bus, and we need employees of the city to drive, and he did say Don Smith is on the committee. I'm like, well, if she's willing to drive, then problem solved. So I dropped that pin to her when she came to pick up the bus
She's gonna
yesterday.
be a road warrior.
Yeah, exactly. And she
No.
knew about it and everything. I said, just so you know, your name came up in case your ears were ringing, because, you know, and she's like, oh, okay. But then I think the young lady who was with her, she also could. So I did,
Cool.
because yeah, that would be wonderful to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a great thing that we're able to do.
Well,
Better than having parks.
Yeah. So we kind of strayed a little bit, but the whole designated and reserved funds. Does anybody have any other questions on that at all? We're sitting very well right now.
I'm just looking at the percentages on the budgets, they're all less than a quarter, right?
The second page?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's budget
22,
10 for,
25.
yes,
Except
for
the
our
bottom-
salaries and,
The operating one is
Halfway
31, so,
through the year.
yeah, it was close, but close enough that it's probably in line.
and the 10,000 on top is just what we're expected to be able to contribute back.
Right.
So that's what that is.
Yep.
And everything else seems to be pretty much where it should be at this point. Again, it was only reported out through the end of March, so we'll be getting that next one soon. Any other questions or concerns on that? Okay.
Okay, endowment donation.
Yeah, so you'll see on the front of July's newsletter,
Yeah.
Dennis and Jocelyn Weber made a donation. I'm gonna wait for the leaf engraving until I possibly get at least one or two more, but then it's summertime also. So as far as the high school being able to do that, I will probably reach out, I'm thinking in mid-July, to see when I can bring some leaves up for getting engraved again, so.
At the Fab Lab.
At the Fab Lab, yep. Yeah, so,
Is there a reason they gave a donation? Did they say? I mean, a
Like
connection
wanted
or?
to go through. Oh,
well, they do
sorry.
come here to walk.
Okay.
And that's all I know. So, yeah, they didn't specify anything else on the form, just that it was just the donation.
Nice. Good, nice of
Dennis's
them.
mother passed away not long ago, I thought maybe there was a link there.
Oh, yeah, no, nothing stated, so, but they were okay getting a leaf, which was nice, so
Cool.
I'm glad about that.
Tammy, I'm not sure I heard you, is the amount of money designated?
Designated,
Or is it just general endowment fund?
it wasn't designated for any specific purpose.
No,
Is that
yeah.
your question? No, it was
Or you
just,
question the amount?
What?
Is your question the amount or?
Well, I thought, I had heard it was gonna be divided up between a couple different designations, but is the amount, what is the total then?
of their donation?
Yeah,
I think it was 250 or 200, 250, yeah.
so there is no distinction. Do we have some rules about designated monies like other endowments do?
I thought that they.
I'm not
can
sure I
they-
understand.
Do you mean like if I were to donate $100, that I'd say I want 50 to go to Lily and 50 to go to this?
Or even bigger amounts,
Or-
because
well,
in a
right.
lot of our groups, there is a rule of some kind that I want my money just to go for this and this.
Oh, yeah, I believe on our thing, on our donation form, they could specify, but this was just a general donation.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't specify it to go to any particular,
Cool.
program at all, or offering, so.
Which means you can use it to shore up anything we need. Yep, no, that's very nice of them,
Yeah.
very generous.
They're neat people.
Yeah, and so if you look at our year-to-date at the end of March, which doesn't even include theirs, we're over $30,000.
Yeah, wow.
Refresh my memory, how do we use that? Is this only the interest that we can spend out of this or?
No, it's not a typical endowment,
That's right, I
that's
didn't think so.
earning interest,
Yeah.
right. So it's in our fund designated for us, and that would be pulled on last if the financials started to get a little bit tight.
But it
Where we-
can't go to
It can't go to operations,
Right,
right. It can go for us,
Programs.
programs and activities at the center.
or like another bus or.
Yes, well, no,
No, that would be.
that would be a different fund, that would be out of the transportation, but
Okay.
if we couldn't afford a bus and we felt like we wanted to use some of that, if we needed to get another
Sure.
bus, that would be something we could, yes. Mhm. Yeah,
It could be used though if we had some ideas to promote more people coming. Not just to maintain where we're at. We're
Right.
kind of maintaining the status quo if we don't need more money.
right.
But we could also use this to expand what we do, to get more people to come.
Depending on what that expansion would look like. Like right now, we have almost $25,000 in our activities fund. That's money coming in that we could utilize for marketing or promoting or getting more people in as well. So I would dabble in that first before I'd ever touch the endowment money. That's like a last resort for me, because when I do retire one day, I want that to be very full, because I do not want to see anything happen to this place where it's not here when I choose to go.
Right.
So I will build that up as much as possible and utilize these other funds as necessary to do that. But those are really great, like what, it's sitting there. So, and that's what, yeah, it's a safety net per se.
Well,
Go ahead.
you know, I think there's been a question asked about whether that armory building was going to be utilized for some of the same things and programs or activities that we have here. Is that not the case?
No, I don't think so.
I think that'd be all children,
I
right?
think that's Boys and Girls Club and children,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what it can be is it can be a bridge. So if those kids can come over here with the groups of people that come here, and we could do the intergenerational connection on that, that would be fantastic. So once that gets up and going, we can explore that option to see how we can make that work. Because when I first started in the basement of City Hall, we had great intergenerational programming with the schools, and we would have some seniors come out and we would go and rake lawns or go and do different things for people, pick up the parks, you know, and we'd have that bridge. And then that kind of fizzled. So I would like to see that happen again.
Have you personally talked to anybody from Boys and Girls Club yet?
Have I? No. I don't even, I'm not sure who to reach out to for that, but that would be a great,
Just,
that would be a great step.
I think if you
Who would
contact the Boys and Girls Club of Wausau, this is sort of a satellite of the Wausau
right,
one
it is.
right,
for now.
yeah.
So if you
For
contact the
now.
Wausau one, then they'll tell you, I'm trying to remember the name of the woman who runs it here for them, because we have supported her, some of the other groups that I'm connected with.
Dave Vahacek is one person
One
that
person, yeah.
was initiating all of this.
How do you
here.
spell that last name?
Vahacek, V-A,
H-A-C-H-E-K.
Oh, Dave Hovick.
Vahavik,
Oh boy, I'm gonna do, it might not be the way, but it's how I'm gonna remember it.
And
He was my former
I'll look on my
roommate.
notes.
Oh, really?
I saw him this morning.
Oh my gosh.
I'll look on my notes from one of the other groups and see if there's a contact person.
Okay,
I may
perfect.
have
Yeah,
access
the
to that.
gal, her husband, I think is a fireman in Townsville, I can't remember her name.
I heard they're gonna create an advisory board, something like this.
Oh,
So at some point, maybe our two boards could meet.
perfect.
That's
Yeah,
probably a
great
year or two down the road, but
Have a brainstorm, how we can
Right.
coordinate things.
Yeah, I would contact Wausau, because they're
Start
the,
there.
they're the,
We're like a satellite
yeah,
right now.
it's a gal, I can't remember.
I can't think of her name, yeah.
Okay.
Very positive person.
Oh, good. Okay, no, that's a great idea.
Just to reach out and say, hey, think of any kind of activities that would benefit both our
Yeah.
programs,
Oh,
since we're
absolutely.
neighbors.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah, right. Like, well, we'll play well together.
Yeah.
Well, conversely, the question came up a couple months ago about whether we had, or Pinecrest had explored with us or we with them about whether some folks from Pinecrest could participate in some activities or programming or building utilization, and I didn't respond to it because I don't know if we're interested in doing that too much, but I presume you're gonna have that question asked again now.
Okay.
Because apparently they sometimes have, during the harsher seasons of the year, a need for some people to go to a larger area for, I presume, like for walking or
That's his home.
doing things. And I told him, from what I knew, we wouldn't have any objection if people came over here to walk or do whatever, like everybody else does. But do you have anybody come here now from Pinecrest?
No, we don't. I don't know if they have the capability or staffing or whatever it would take for them to bring them here and stay with them if needed. Or if, I mean, I'm not sure where people are at physically and such at Pinecrest, if,
Well, they range from
yeah,
all-
from all levels,
all
okay,
different levels.
yeah.
During the fair, I've seen people come over because I spend a lot of time in that room.
Okay.
And there's typically a family member, or the majority of the time, it's a family member. I think sometimes it's an aide that brings them, but that's, seems like it's becoming more rare, I think, because of staffing.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
But they're with them constantly.
okay, and that's, I'm gonna be honest, my fear, is that if they weren't and something
Yeah.
would happen, or we don't know how to care for people, that would be my concern.
They're in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
What I've seen.
Yeah, but socially, I get it, that connection is critical. So if they did have a family member or a aide or whoever that, if they're able to come down to socialize and visit or whatever, that would be great.
Well, they have a lot of activities, table
Yes, and that's
activities
the other
over
thing
there.
too,
I mean,
right.
if you go over there, you'll see them out in the activity area all
Right,
the time.
right, and socializing.
I think the question was related to large muscle, more type of activities that they're too small for that there. Cause some of the folks exercise in the halls.
Mhm.
They have a new owner as of this summer, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, once that's established, then maybe we can make a connection.
But we are an ideal location
Oh, we
for
are.
some of those
Oh,
folks who might
absolutely,
be
for
open.
those who are able, like, I keep thinking of Gigi's chair classes. Like, if there are people who can get over here, if you're talking about the wellness and the exercise and the muscle building and different things like that, or that would be great, but they're gonna have to have somebody with them.
Oh, yeah.
And transport.
And transport, right, well, we might be able to handle the transport. It's just a hop,
So
skip,
what's
and a
not
jump, but,
enjoyable?
yeah, but that, I agree with keeping them physically, well and getting the muscles moving instead of just sitting.
Well, I think part of my point was, I take flowers from Laura over there
Right.
sometimes. And, they tell me where to go with sometimes, and, when you, I mean that literally. But it is a little bit frightening when you hear somebody say, well, take it down to Elma down here, she hasn't been out of the building for 6 months, or had a visitor for this year.
Right,
That's hard,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's disheartening. Okay, well, we'll see what we can explore there, once all the chaos is settled with that. Yeah.
Okay. July offerings.
Okay, so July newsletter, of course, we've got. So we have, let me see here, we have some, the farm to table is what I wanted to really push. That one I pushed on the radio this morning as well. Sometimes people are like, well, Mary wants to educate people on farm, she has all the animals,
Right.
and so and vegetables and all that kind of stuff, so she really wants to share what to do with all of the things you may get from a farmer's market. And so she's signed up to offer 3 cooking classes and bring all of the produce and meats and everything from her farm to educate, and also use it as an educational tool as well. So she did come for her first talk on that, which was, I think we ended up having about only 4 people or 3 people, something like that, but it's tough sometimes, you just don't know. So that one I'm excited about. We have tatting, which is new,
Yeah.
and so that's gonna be exciting. We're hoping that people will get on that list. And I'm not sure of her name, yeah. So she stopped in to see, she has a maximum of, I think, maybe only 5.
That's gonna be a small
Because it's
class,
gonna be, she's like, we gotta keep it small. So we're gonna push that a little bit too. We have the Nido felting floral landscapes, which is, the picture I mean, it still looks kind of pretty, but not the
Yeah,
same
no,
as
it's not
what's,
the same,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's the wool, using needle felting technique. Amy is taking the month off, which she deserves. And then some, and so, yes, she does. And let me see if there's, what else we have.
Did they reschedule the two that got canceled because of that weather? Like your friend or neighbor that does the,
Yes, she's my friend, and yes, we did that last, what,
So that
Tuesday?
happened.
That
Okay,
happened
okay,
already.
good.
And Amy came in and had her painting, and then Christy came in and ran the sea glass in here. I actually took an art class. Everyone's shocked, and I only had a few of the things I hot glued fall off, but my husband had some Gorilla Glue, so we're good. But it was really, at first I felt a little anxious because I was on a timeline, and that's where I get anxious, but then I was like, you know what? I'll finish it at home if I can, you know, and I know who to call. She's like one of my dear friends. But we had a great time, and there were there was a group,
Nice.
4 generations. I think we posted that on Facebook. So it was nice. It was our makeup day.
and it was a good experience for the instructor.
Oh, yes,
Good.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was definitely, so that worked out really well. So yeah, thanks for asking that. Workshop wise, we have Dan Kolblitz coming for the first time for estate planning, so that'll be nice. And a new offering from Aspirus Health, skilled home care. So I thought that was great. She reached out for that. I think that's an important. Online awareness for children. If you know any parents with young kids who are on social media, that would be a great workshop to promote for them. That's July 9th at 5:15. And so that's just, you know, being safe while you're on the internet.
How does the public know about that?
We have promoted it on Facebook in here. He, I think, also promotes it. He's from the state, Madison. So it's, yeah, we've done all of our normal promotions for those things.
Would the city, would that be a good one, just because it might have a wider audience of younger maybe?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Oh,
think.
you
how
mean on the city's homepage?
Yeah.
I can ask Kelly to put that on
The
there.
school district.
For the school
And the school
district, yeah.
district, yes, yes.
And all
But
the-
I didn't think that we thought of the school, but how do everybody's out of, they're not there.
Right,
They got a website too.
Yeah,
that's true.
I could ask them to share it.
What about all the daycare providers? Have they been notified of this?
Probably not.
The reason I asked the question, I just had my grandchild at Normal Park, and all of a sudden there's this big group of childcare kids there. They left and another big group came. I would say in that short period of time, there were at least 50, 60 kids
Really?
at
Wow.
Normal Park.
Wow.
There was 2 different daycares you could tell
Oh,
came.
gotcha.
And one I think was St. John's, I would guess, the way they walked that direction, and the other just came in a bus, or a van.
Even Trinity.
So there's gotta be, you know, if that could go home to those parents, I think you'd
Yeah,
get.
no, that's a great idea. We can make some flyers and
Yeah, I
get them
mean-
to those places. No,
Yeah,
very good
just in
idea.
the news this morning.
Wow.
That was in the news this morning.
The mental health
How
issue.
bad it is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, how bad is it? Right, yeah, it's bad.
Really bad.
Kids are on it. They're-
I always look at bulletin boards and flyers.
Yes, yes. I could probably email it
Or-
to her and, yeah, and Lori will put it up on the board for me.
Yeah, it is very timely, isn't it? And all of the news, just how bad it is.
Oh.
The research now is showing
Yeah,
even
yeah.
more.
No, those are wonderful suggestions. Thank you. Very good.
It's a great way of making younger couples know of us.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
true too.
good point.
It's very true, good point, yep. All right, and then of course our bus trips, right, those are the same. It's nice that Stephanie spent the time to get them, and for her sake as well, just get them all out,
Yeah.
because then, you know, there's no,
People can plan.
yes, so she's got those all going. I think we have a fair amount for Door County and some for the Dells already too. And I plugged those, being that they're Lamers buses, on the radio this morning as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. Oh,
Go ahead.
okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. Continue discussion on, meal funds, so Meals on Wheels.
Yes, and so what we did is, this isn't the actual, because we put it on a harder cardstock, but I'll pass this around. This is what we sent out to 24 recipients who are on Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
So we're starting with JB's Catering. He's actually a friend of mine. And he's at, Tractor Supply all the time, first thing in the morning, and then he's at Sawmill, and he's an amazing cook, amazing chef, I'll call him. So I called, or messaged him and asked him if he'd be willing to come and do a food truck. I said, we've not done this before, so we need to work through this. So we worked out all the logistics, the pricing he came down on a little bit. So his normal price is $15, and he does like a pulled pork as the main. He also has some like chicken wraps for people who don't like that type of meat. So, and he's doing a plate, which means chips and something to drink also, or chips and either some type of salad, coleslaw, potato salad, whatever he throws together, and then you can also buy a drink. So he brought the price down for the tickets to $12.
Nice.
Everybody else who comes from other buildings,
normal.
it's 15.
Right.
So and we'll be able to know, because when those get handed in, then we are fully funding that meal.
Nice.
So that's how that's working.
Good job.
And so that's our first attempt, and I'm working with Barb Hartwig up at ADRC, and so there's another new girl, Christina actually is working with us as well, she's helping out, but Barb and I are coordinating that and who to give it to. So we've got 2 more sets of those going out, because we want to have a July food truck and an August food truck.
Nice.
So that's our first attempt. We don't know what it's going to look like, how many are going to be able to get here. They might have to have somebody take them here.
Right.
I know.
Did you say 24? I'm sorry. 24?
24, yep, because, and we'll do that 2 more times.
Great.
So there'll be different people, because we didn't want to put out, 72 tickets all coming to the food truck. JB said, how many people, I'm gonna prepare for this many, so that we worked with him on that, how much food can he have available, to see how that's going. One of our guys groups a gentleman from our guys groups came in this morning with his ticket and said to Stephanie, I'm not sure what this means. So as clear as we think we are,
We still,
so, and that's good feedback to get, because it looks all self-explanatory to us. Like, it's a meal ticket, it can't be transferred to anybody else,
Right.
and it's for a meal.
It doesn't give like how long is he gonna be there, like a time? I didn't see a time, did I miss that?
And what's that?
Oh, wait, it is, never mind, it's in bold.
What about, so how do you find the 24 people this time?
So she said we have, this many people, and so I left that up to them.
Okay.
I just said, here's 24
So they
tickets,
distributed it.
and you're
Okay.
going to deal with all the names and everything else. That's kind of private too, so they are batching it. I don't know if they went alphabetical or who gets what on what day or whatever it is, but they will do that for the next 2 rounds as well.
So how did they distribute them, do you know?
With the Meals on Wheels delivery, yes.
So
Great question.
Person that came in from Guy's group, then what, was there a specific question he had, or just?
Steph just said he wasn't exactly sure what this meant, and
How to use it kind of thing.
how to use it and whatever.
So maybe it's gotta be explained when they're given, more explanation given?
Yeah, a cover sheet that says,
Yeah.
we've sent this to you so that you can have a meal at a
And
reduced cost.
ADRC may
Right.
have done that.
Yeah.
I'm not positive. Steph did say he had another sheet in his pocket when he pulled that out.
It would be good to know what they said,
It
yeah.
doesn't say, it is a meal ticket, it doesn't say free.
Yes.
But-
Well, it does
but
say
it-
good for one
It
meal.
does say good for
Good
one
for one
meal.
It'd be interesting to see what they sent out though, to see if it can be
Yes.
improved upon based on what she encountered there at the desk.
And again, that was just one person,
Yeah,
so,
right. But-
I'm sure there'll be other questions and
Probably the
things.
word redeemable or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
Breton.
Right.
Yeah. It's, you just,
Yeah.
you
Bigger
gotta
than
be super clear, that's
Just
all.
free, everybody.
Yeah.
well, that's what
And we were afraid to
Free,
put.
yeah, free.
Yeah, you don't-
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, so
It says
but-
non-transferable. What if the elderly person asked their son or daughter to come, and
then their son and their daughter pays $15.
but they can't get their parents' ticket?
They can't.
No,
So-
because
so-
we're not paying for the person who brings
No,
them.
no, I mean, okay.
Okay,
Let's
sorry,
say it's my
sorry.
daddy, my dad's
Okay.
gone, so if my dad says, here's my ticket, I can't go down to down here
Pick
to
it up.
go
Please
get
pick it up
would
for
you go
me."
pick it up for me? And I show up as someone who's, I don't know, or you know, some young person shows up with the ticket saying, I'm getting that for my grandparent, and it says non-transferable, is somebody gonna question that? I would hope not.
Right,
I mean, it's
I-
because that may be a very
24,
legitimate
yeah.
request.
Okay, I can't
Right.
get there, you know,
Right.
because Meals on Wheels means they're delivered to their home.
And the way to address that in the future is on the ticket to say, if you're unable to come in person and a friend or relative is picking it up for you, please call us to let us know that.
Yeah,
Because then,
Yeah.
because you don't wanna question it in person, on the other hand, you also don't want, maybe the pool guy sees the ticket and says, hey, this is cool, I'll say it's my grandfather. It's a
Yeah,
horrible
who
way to
knows?
think,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you don't want ADRC to go broke feeding people that could get food on their own, and the ones who really need it don't end up getting it. You know, I hate to be paranoid.
And you also
but I
don't wanna
am.
put that gentleman in the middle.
Right,
of,
Right.
Do I take your ticket or
Or
not
d-
take
right.
your ticket?
The JB.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
JB,
food
yeah.
guy.
You know, I'm saying more it's his problem, I mean, somebody comes to the
Mhm.
window and,
Right.
Yeah.
so,
I guess we'll cross that
We'll
bridge when
cross
it
it,
comes,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it will.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
it will.
so.
Yeah.
But that's no different than you get your father gets the meal delivery and said, I don't really like this, here, take it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eat my green beans,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a problem, but,
yeah, well, we'll see how it goes, it's a good effort, and,
I think it's a great
yeah, it's a
idea.
great idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is, but it's a lot.
it is.
It's
And
a
this
lot
money-
of thinking, and it's a lot of what ifs, and,
And
you know, a lot of, is this okay, and so.
a whole bunch of people are throwing their time and effort into it,
Right.
including JB, right,
Mhm,
so,
mhm,
yeah,
Yeah,
And it
so-
comes out of the Bierman money.
Yes, that, the meal, Bierman Meal Fund. So that's separate than the bus fund,
Mhm.
you know, if you look
So
at
there's
that.
5,800 on
Yeah,
it.
there's 5,800 there.
Yeah.
excellent.
So that's kind of where we're starting, but, we're brainstorming other ideas for how it could look. Now, the ADRC wants to partner with us, and I'm pretty sure Barb is talking about a meals site location. I'm really hesitant on that. I told her we'll cross that bridge in a minute, let's get through the first food truck thing, and she agreed. But I think her goal is to have a place, and I said, even if it's once a month or a couple times a month, we have to work it into our activity structure and how this is gonna look
You need to have it here.
to have it
Yeah.
here. Including like an educational session, like right after the meal that they stay for. She gave an example of that, and I'm like, I really like that,
Mhm.
because it was pretty interesting. Fishing lure, making a fishing lure or something, and there was a guys group up north that they found a location to bring the meals to, and then they eat, and then they learn something new,
Got it,
and they get out.
right,
So I really do like that. So we're on the very front end of just discussing, can we make this work? And we're gonna get through this first thing first, and then we're going to explore that option. I do like it. I'm going to ensure that having the enrichment center as a meal site doesn't become us managing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, cause you don't really have that capacity.
Right,
Yeah.
no, we don't. And I'd already planted that seed, so she does know, and of course ADRC knows I'm running on very little employee. So they understand that, so by us working together, I'm hopeful that we can give it a shot. And open that up so that they have dining, cause I guess now Jenny Towers is done with the dining sites that they pulled from there, because the demographic there has changed so much.
Yeah,
Mhm. So they are no longer serving there.
Are Meals on Wheels still being delivered at all, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and Monday
So-
through Friday. So
Still,
I
that's
thought
good.
Friday was not,
thought they
right?
were.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden she said, no, we're Friday. I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's good.
I said, I'm glad you told me that, but then I'm not positive on this, but then I heard somewhere that the recipients pick a day that they don't receive the meal.
Oh, so
Okay.
it's
So it's
4
still Monday
days.
through Friday, but you choose a day
4
that,
days.
you
That
know
you're
what,
gonna
I'm gonna skip Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Or,
That's
so
good.
I'll
Gotta be a
verify that,
logistics
but
nightmare.
I think that that's what the
Okay,
girls had heard too and relayed the message, and I'm
cool.
like, oh,
So
okay.
like on this day, the food truck day, they could get their regular Meal on Wheels and a food truck meal.
They could,
Ooh.
and a lot of
They're
times,
really
and
hungry.
because there's no frozen anymore because
Yeah.
of the cost, you know, then they could just save it for the next day or
Sure,
something.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, so it would be extra.
Well.
So we're getting there, you know, we're getting there, we're getting that reach, we're using that, gonna use that money, wisely, make sure that we can spread it out as much as possible.
It's $874 if every ticket was redeemed. And we have 5,800 in
Right.
that, so that's gonna go
Right.
for quite a few years,
Right,
We hope, yeah,
6 years from
Yeah.
and we could probably accommodate
Six,
more,
seven.
but food trucks are limited,
right,
you know, if
They're-
it gets,
they run out.
yeah, yeah, Vicky had a good idea too about, having, like Hugo's cater a meal here.
Hmm.
And instead of a food truck, and then we could tell her how many meals we would like, and if she could make, you know, I don't know, 50 meals or something for us, and then we would pay her, and then we would have the meal here.
Right.
That might be good when the weather isn't really conducive for a food truck.
That's also
Right.
assuming that those 50 people are gonna show
Would
up.
come,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
which you may get a better idea once you know how
Yeah.
many of these
Yeah.
vouchers are
Right.
being
And that's
redeemed.
exactly what we said, we'll wait
Yeah.
and see how these are going, and, but you know, so Meals on Wheels was, of course, definitely a target market for us for these meals. But I keep thinking back to the people who were able to attend our meals, and a lot of them weren't homebound, but they could use that meal
The socialization,
Yeah.
too.
and the socialization,
Right.
kinda like St.
Yeah.
Stephen's does,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's that, but again, and volunteers, that, you know, that would be, we would need to have more volunteers available and have it not consume our entire week.
Right.
Right.
So
Meal
all of
prep or
those
whatever.
pieces, right, exactly. So us not making the meal and having it catered in is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a very good idea that she had. So that's another thing that's on the table, getting kind of, you know,
Cool.
kind of waiting for us to proceed, so that we can use those funds. And the socialization part is a big deal. Yeah, so,
And I would think if we need more money, Beerman's would come up with.
right, once
I
it
mean, this
gets
is
to a
kind
low
of-
number, I
yeah, I
will
mean,
maybe be
Yeah, they
brave
spend,
enough
a-
to ask.
I mean, they donate millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they do,
this is
they
It's
do,
a great.
small potatoes
yeah,
to them.
yeah, yep,
I think they're gonna rename the town.
they should,
You rename the town?
they
Yeah.
might.
Spearman was not.
Every town needs a Beerman, though.
Isn't that true?
Very
That
true.
is so true,
So
yes,
true.
I fully agree. I just said that to my parents in Ironwood, I'm like, oh, there's Beerman's up here. Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Okay, just in the interest of time, we'll move on. Did you cover the food trucks, or is that separate from Meals on Wheels?
kind of all in one. He's coming in July as well.
Oh,
So JV will be coming back in July with smash burgers.
Nice.
That's kind of one of his specialties. And then, of course, a wrap for those who don't like burgers. So, yeah, so that's that.
Okay,
Thank you.
June, July offerings, senior swim.
Senior swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So brainstorming again, the three of us, and I,
I'm gonna be proud. That sounds like so
it
much
was
fun.
Vicky again,
your
who
Speedos
thought of
on.
this. I think it was Vicky who mentioned like senior swim, so
Yeah.
can pass that around, and I messaged Dawn, and I'm like, hey,
Where did I hear that? I heard that somewhere else
could we
recently.
make this happen? And she's like, wait, what? And we said, we'll cover the cost of the first one, $3 a person, you just keep how many
Yeah.
came, and we'll cover that.
Cool.
And get people out and active and socializing and healthy, and so, we'll see what happens, we're gonna run it in June and
Basketball.
July.
9:30 to 11.
Yeah, there you go. Well, then somebody said something about water exercise. I'm like, oh, maybe, maybe,
Summer months.
yeah, maybe I could talk to Gigi and be like, hey, you wanna go out on a senior swim day and teach some water
There used to be
aerobics?
somebody at, Riverside, they used to do that.
Water aerobics?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I do water aerobics
Jared-
now at
Jared
the middle
Jared
school.
did.
Oh, at the middle school?
Yeah, they have it.
Who
And I
teaches
go,
that?
Dan Olhoff, the guy that does the horses.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Olhoff.
I think he does one night a week at
Riverside,
at
he does
Riverside.
Wednesdays
He
at
does Wednesday
Riverside,
nights at
yeah,
Riverside.
and in the
Yeah.
summer, he does Tuesdays at the middle school, and then during the school year, it's Tuesday, Thursday at the middle, but it's like
Okay.
6:15 in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
then,
this is fun.
yeah, it is fun, and we thought
Yeah,
we'd,
not that.
we'd sponsor the first one and then see how it goes, and then we'll
Yeah.
see if there's a second one.
Gene, you should do high diving expedition. That would draw people.
I might
Featuring
get
Gene
some
Bells.
tickets.
He's afraid of
It's
heights.
not tickets. Great minds, right?
The name wouldn't be senior swimmer, but it'd be senior dive.
Senior
With
plunge.
the dive and dive.
I just noticed it's during guys group, so I thought you'd be available, Gene, you
I
know.
appreciate you, Jay.
That is funny. Oh, my goodness. Okay,
Would
yeah.
that be, yeah, I'm just thinking, how's that being advertised?
Dawn created this for us, which I thought was
Oh.
very kind.
Yeah.
And she
Well,
put it
Park
on Park and Rec's
Okay.
advertising and on Facebook, and then we have it, she tagged us, we put it on our Facebook. We have some flyers around and,
Would Gigi have said, maybe that's where I heard it, would
oh,
Gigi
maybe
have
she
said
did, yeah,
something?
she probably did.
That might be something for her to
She
repeat next
probably
week.
did, yes.
Well,
And,
that is the date, is
Yeah.
next week, but
mhm.
on Monday or Wednesday, just to remind people.
Yeah, that would be great. So, yeah, we're excited for that. And then a little bit down the line, in September, we are doing the line dancing lessons here. You've
Oh, yeah.
probably seen that advertised, so I expect.
Jay, that's,
Hey, Dad.
Okay, you do the diving in June, I'll do that in September.
It's part of the requirement of being a committee member.
Yeah, but you're saying you want us to be more involved.
Lots of dance.
It's the last one.
Everybody protect your toes.
Yes, I expect everybody to be present. My husband and I are coming, so yes. That's how actually our first day at Australia, he took me line dancing, which I had never done. I said, I don't even know what's happening. I stepped on his feet, I was tripping, it was a hot mess. But he kept me.
Anyway, right.
It worked anyway. So yeah, he's like, wait, you're having line dance? We're going. And I'm like, okay, let's do this again. For the second time.
Jimmy, you gotta be able to walk backwards.
Yeah.
Some of us have trouble walking forward.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, and then I think there's other people who around here offer line
Yeah.
dancing lessons as well.
Yeah.
So we might be able to work with them, and if it goes, and I think it'd be great.
Huh.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah, so,
Dancing's good for you.
great,
Used to do it a lot.
yeah,
My younger
Cool.
days.
really. So you must attend it
My younger
and give us
poetry
some
days.
lessons before.
The warm-up.
Wait, did you have the cool cowboy boots?
No,
then,
I
too?
didn't, not line dancing, this
Oh.
was polka dancing.
Oh, okay.
Bounced in your step.
Maybe that's our next one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Swimming pool.
Yes, yes.
Next thing you know, we'll be doing salsa.
Yeah.
Ooh, sassy salsa.
So
Boy, I
should
better
add
write
this
all
to
these
the
ideas down
discussion?
later
Should
some
we
video.
add
That's perfect.
That's what Carol's doing.
Carol's gonna do that.
So next discussion for any other future meetings or
Anything?
thoughts? My only, oh,
Yeah.
17th, July, right? And we don't meet in August, is that right? Is that still the plan or not?
I have a request. Is there any chance that we could postpone next month's meeting for 1 week and do it the following week? Otherwise, I'll miss again. I have to be down in Madison to teach that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But the teaching that I do comes to an end that Friday,
Oh.
the 19th. And so I would miss next month's meeting if it's on the 17th. But if you postpone it for 1 week
Oh,
to
there's
the
5
24th.
Thursdays in July. That would depend on
If-
the committee.
If people are willing to, or maybe you want me to miss, I don't know.
No.
So some days.
So we could do the 24th or the 31st.
Either of those will
Either
work
one.
perfectly for me.
If you all wanna just get back to me, unless you know already.
Either one.
We-
I know that's 24's good for me.
24 is fine.
24, Mark, but what about you?
I'm fine, I'm flexible.
Are you sure?
I don't
Okay.
have any travel plans or anything.
Okay, so 24th, I can do that.
It works for me at this moment.
You good?
Now you can say no
You're
to
good with the
whatever you may
24th?
be asked to do on that day.
Interfere with my nap schedule.
Or travel to, I should say.
We're gonna wake you
Or
up.
go.
Okay.
Gina, is that good for you as well?
Yep.
The 24th, Jay, you too?
Yeah, I can work, yeah.
We'll try, I'll change it then.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Most
Yeah,
grateful.
That's great.
She won't tell you what I told her.
I have
I will.
another request.
It's just not
Yes.
always recorded.
Yes.
Something we
For
talked
next time,
about
or,
next time.
okay.
Just about classes and instruction and
So
that
we are gonna do the
$3
24th?
user fee
Okay.
plus the 50%, you know how we talked about
I'm sorry, I gotta
that?
run.
Yeah,
See ya.
thanks, Jay. To-
Possibly changing that?
To just consider that, and I
See you
won't be
later.
part of, I
You
just
wanna
follow
go?
the discussion being.
No, I can't go to
instructed,
that.
but, you know, just
No.
to
No, I
think
think,
about-
I think that's, it's time,
See you, Jim.
yeah. And I'll discuss
and maybe
it
there's a
with,
different, maybe they have some ideas.
yes, we've kind of toyed with that as well. And I think the main reason is because, I mean, not that we wanna stay financially stable and sound, right? That's not it. But if you're looking at our account, that might, it's padded, you know, it's almost
Oh.
25, it's over 25 grand
For
now because
activities,
this is, yeah. So I think it warrants having discussion.
I don't know
A,
if,
to simplify. I think it's confusing to some. We have a $3 activity fee we take out and then a 15%
for people that
for people that teach.
take a class.
So when we're trying to explain that to people, it's like a lot.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it could just be flat.
Take out
Like, this is how much, you
how
know.
much the class is, and then whatever you take out for the instructor,
Yes.
or however
It's
you do
just,
that.
it'd be so much easier. So, yeah, so I'll talk to Steph about that because we've talked about it already. And so I think it's warranted. So we'll put that on the next meeting for sure. And then we can take
And
a look
maybe,
at it.
but
and
I
get some
don't know if that
ideas.
would add more, people that would be willing to teach at a lower, to teach at a lower cost for people taking the class. You know, cause if it's like, if I need to get this much, I always have to add that $3
Oh,
on.
yes, yes.
Kind of
Yes, I think it's time to, relook at that.
thing. Just a thought.
And because it's a simplification of it, and then I think then, it's not like we're gonna make a lot less, but it's just going to make it simplified, flat fee, whatever. We'll,
I don't know
we'll
how it
think
would
of
be,
something, yeah, we'll brainstorm, cause we've been talking about that, yeah. Okay, very good,
And then just on the calendar, make sure that they know that we changed that meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, after you printed it, I make you change.
Yeah, no, that's okay, and we can have it right at the front desk, we can have it everywhere, so yeah, not a big deal.
Thank you.
Not a big deal.
All right.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Great
Have a good rest
conversations
of the
again.
month.